So many adults do not read at all. Now, we're not here to shame or judge. If you're an adult and you've read nothing for the last year or much longer, you're welcome here. You're in the right place. This video is for you. There are reasons why adults don't read, but none of those reasons are because the adults are lazy or dumb. Okay, let's just put that to rest right now. If you are not reading right now, it has nothing to do with your moral character or your intelligence and capability. It doesn't mean you're a bad person in any way. There are several real and practical reasons why you're not reading. I'm the book guy, and welcome back to my series on For the Love of Reading. We're looking at reading habits and reading culture. Today we're looking at 7 reasons why adults don't read and the solution for how to start reading again. So let's get you back in the game. And if you're already reading regularly, this video will still help you in your conversations about reading. It will give you some information and tools to help you advocate for reading so you can contribute to a more positive reading culture. Now, I'm going to list the 7 reasons why adults don't read straight away, okay? So if you're not going to watch all 20 minutes of this video, then I encourage you to go straight to the one of these that resonates most with you. It will help you understand what's going on in your situation and give you some tips to get you reading again. And remember, I'm not here to pressure you, I'm here to encourage you and believe in you. Now, in no particular order. Yes, literacy itself is a serious factor. The very ability to read and write. This may not be an issue for you, viewers of a booktube channel, but we gotta talk about this first, because people who struggle with literacy don't talk about it because it's embarrassing. Now, I'm choosing America as our case study today, since 41% of my viewers are from America. The average literacy rate in America is 79%. So that's 79% of Americans can read and write, 21% cannot. So out of America's current population of 340 million people, that is 71.6 million Americans who cannot read and write. Sorry, I made a mistake with those statistics. I should have accounted for the adult population. So 21% of the adult population of America are illiterate. That's 54.2 million people. That's pretty serious. In fact, look at this graph of the states so you can see where those literacy averages are. You may notice a similarity between rate of literacy and voting Republican. You know what? I put that in as a joke, but let's talk about that. If you cannot read, where do you get your information from? You become very reliant on the information you're being told, and you become very susceptible to propaganda. So literacy rates do have a huge factor in how you vote. So literacy is important. But literacy itself is not the only relevant factor. We need to consider how literate these Americans are. So there are 4 levels of literacy. If you are illiterate and cannot read at all, that's level 0. Okay, it's not even one of the 4 levels.
There is now a level 0.
Levels 1 to 4 are named Functional, Basic, Proficient, and Advanced. And level 1, Functional Literacy, that means you can read a stop sign and sign a legal document, but that's it. At a functional literacy level, you literally could not read a book. That ability is beyond you. Now, statistics on those reading levels are a bit harder to measure, but professional estimates state that as many as 23% of Americans are at a functional literacy level. So altogether, that is approximately 44% of Americans that cannot read books. That's huge and kind of scary, isn't it? And guys, that's in America, a developed country. The rate of global literacy can be scary in places, but don't despair. Overall, 87% of the world is literate. So that's pretty good. In fact, that's also the highest rate of literacy we've ever experienced in Earth's history. So overall, well done, human race.
Pat on the back.
But your literacy can be affected by a range of factors, including your gender. Women are statistically much more likely to be illiterate and to be denied access to education. Literacy is also affected by poverty. It's lower among immigrants and people who speak English as a second language, meaning they are less literate in English. All of these things make it much harder to read. Let's also finish looking at those levels of literacy. So we established level 1 is functional, cannot read books. Level 2 is basic, meaning you're just reading kids' books or YA. Level 3, proficient, is for adults' books. And level 4 advanced is for reading complex works. I'm highlighting all this because this is why I'm so against people bashing on YA and kids books or the people who like them. In fact, I hate the fact that people with advanced and proficient reading abilities are looking down on people who cannot read as well as them. We know that to joke that someone can't read is a funny thing. It shows up in pop culture and we kind of have a bit of a chuckle.
I didn't know you could read.
If those kids could read, they'd be very upset.
And as funny as that is, it's also a serious problem that we're sort of not aware of. So looking down on people with lower reading abilities is not going to fix the problem. And also shaming YA books or simpler fiction is not going to somehow improve literature on a whole. Simpler fiction is 100% appropriate for people with lower reading abilities. That's how you get to higher reading abilities, by working up to them. Often people's tastes in books is a reflection on the level of opportunity and access they've had to education in their life. So this is part of why I'm making this video today. Reading is not just a hobby or an interest. It's literally a tool for education and for self-education. And that's something I think the online reading community could do a better job of addressing. I love BookTube and the international online community of books, but we can be a snooty, judgy bunch sometimes.
You all think you're so much better than me.
Oh, Meg.
When really, we should be playing a huge role in the battle for literacy. The ability to read is a privilege that not everyone has had the opportunity to enjoy. So if you are low on your literacy levels, that's okay. I want to encourage you not to be afraid to start working at improving. Go to the literacy level you're at, out of those 4 levels, and start reading texts that actually suit your ability. Don't try to go to the higher stuff to try to compensate. Start where you're at and practice. Work your way up to a point where you feel more confident. I believe in you. And to you more experienced readers, let's always make sure that we are welcoming to people who are of all sorts of different reading abilities. Let's never turn some away because they're not at our level just yet. Okay, now that we've addressed a very significant reason why adults don't read, let's look at some other reasons that may be a little bit more personally relatable to you. This is a big one, and honestly, even established expert readers are gonna struggle with this. There is not enough time to read books. We have life, responsibilities, jobs, school, and lots of things to do. Even if we have a desire to read, sometimes we do not have the time. I'm sure we'd all love to live in a Star Trek post-scarcity future where we can work and create without fear of poverty and starvation and desperation. But in the meantime, most of us are gonna struggle with busyness. Now, the solution to this one is not simple by any means. People are always talking on the internet and in self-help books about how you can manage your time better. But that's just not an option for a lot of people. A single parent with 3 kids can't just manage time better into finding time to read. Imagine you have $2,000 worth of bills to pay and $1,000 in pocket. Well, it doesn't really matter how good you are at budgeting and saving money at this point. You don't have the resources to meet the demand. Time is a lot like that. Sometimes there just isn't enough. But don't give up. Find ways to incorporate reading into your daily life. Just 5 minutes of reading before bed. Listening to an audiobook while you exercise. Take a book into the bathroom instead of your phone, whatever works. The key here is to remember, if you are short on time, don't try to find 6 hours to read every day. If 5 minutes is all you have, just read for 5 minutes. Don't be ambitious and overdo it here. Start small and go from there. Remember, even if you're busy now, you will have other phases in your life where you will have more spare time later on. Slow and steady wins the race here, so be patient. This one hurts. How often do you think, finally I have the time to read, and you're too bloody exhausted to do it? I can't tell you how frustrating it is to have a book you really want to read, and all the time in the world, and you just can't comprehend what you're reading, and you're staring at the book like... Look, reading is not a job, but it does take energy to do it. You have to work at it. You could compare it to a marriage, if you want to be super cheesy.
Cheese.
Marriage is not a chore. I'm not one of those guys who complains about my life partner being a ball and chain. My relationship is a delight. But it does take work to get the most out of it. Some days you don't have the energy in the tank to do that work. Well, this happens a lot when you're reading. And when it does happen, you gotta stop. Rest, Self-care, recharge, come back later when you're feeling better. If you do want to push through and try to read, you can consider swapping formats. If you're too tired to read a physical book, try swapping to audio. Or vice versa, depending on what works for you. Remember, there's a big difference between a low-energy day and a low-energy period of life. Know the difference. If you're just having a bad day, rest, relax. It's not going to stop you from reading forever. You just need to try again tomorrow. That said, if you're having a low-energy phase of life, we'll get to that. Yes, reading a disappointing book can absolutely put you in a slump and break existing reading habits. A book can disappoint you for so many reasons. Imagine your favorite author or your favorite book series gets a new story and it's just not what you wanted. It's kind of painful. Or you try a book everyone's been recommending and you hate it. This happens to us a lot as teenagers. So many people who don't read now as an adult used to read as teenagers. Then they had a bad experience with a book or two and then stopped. This also happens when we read the wrong books for us. I know I talked about this in my last video, which was read whatever you want, where I described all the ways we are pressured to read certain books. We're told what to read in school, in society, by booktubers, and it often means we're pressured into reading books that others tell us to and not the books that we want. Every time this happens, we run the risk of a disappointing reading experience that pushes us further away from reading altogether. The good news is there's a few solutions to this one. First, if you're reading a book that you don't like, maybe just put it down.
Put it down!
Do not finish it. I know that can be hard for a lot of us and it feels like giving up, but it's better to push aside a disappointing book rather than suffer through and lose your will to read. Second, be honest about what stories you like and just read them. Try not to let others push their preferences on you. Read whatever you want. That should help with avoiding disappointment. And third, sometimes there will be disappointment. It's kind of inevitable because art is subjective. If that happens, try to start reading a new book as soon as possible. Maybe reread an old favorite or something that you know you will love. Essentially, get another book into you as quick as possible and wash out the taste of the last one. Reading is a lot like exercise, and I know I've used this example many times on my channel before.
And you'll hear it again!
The more you read and the more you exercise, the stronger you will get and the greater the challenges you can take on. If you've done very little reading or exercise, it's going to be hard to get started. There are so many reasons why you might be out of practice with reading. Busy, work, life, bad book experiences, all those sorts of things. And there are many teenagers who stop reading once they leave school and are no longer being pressured to do it. Either way, if you're out of practice now, there's only one way back in. Practice, practice, practice. If you want to get your reading habits back in place, well, let's use the exercise metaphor again, shall we? It's been working well so far.
Kinda.
If you're out of practice, there's a temptation to go from 0 to 1,000,000 really quick and suddenly go big and hard and fast. Please don't do that. Please don't go straight to the hardest challenge. Start small with something achievable. Some people think, I want to lose 20 kilos or 40, 50 pounds this year, and then they buy all their equipment and get all their juicing machines and they go hard for 2 weeks, and then it just becomes overwhelming because there's so much to do. You're better off starting with a daily walk. In the same way, if you're trying to read, don't go straight to Game of Thrones or Wheel of Time if you're out of practice, because those are big books. Start with kids' books or YA, something small and achievable. Build up your confidence first and go slow. You will improve over time, trust me. But you will go further if you get a steady habit in place first before you go to the end extremes. This is important to consider if you go through some seriously bad stuff in life, which you probably have or will at some point. It will affect everything, including your reading. I want to touch on this topic because it happens to everyone. I mentioned in an earlier video I'm personally recovering from burnout. When I first started my channel nearly a year ago, I wasn't reading anything because I was fatigued. I was calling myself the book guy for 4 months before I actually started reading again. The imposter syndrome was strong. So yes, it happens to everyone, even the wonderful book guy. So if you're going through something like that now, it is okay to not read anything. Just focus on getting through each day. You might have lost your reading habits years ago. Think back on it. Were you going through something really bad at the time? Could be you went through a tough time and simply never went back to reading afterwards. Because sometimes trauma can change us permanently. We don't always go back to being who we were.
We all change. When you think about it, we're all different people, all through our lives.
But it's okay. If we accept that pain and learn to live with it, it can become a source of strength and wisdom. So if you're looking to start reading again, and this is the area you're struggling with right now, maybe just give yourself time. Work on your mental health first. Build up your emotional health. Focus on your own personal journey. Reading will always be there waiting for you whenever you're ready. Yes, I'm sure we've all encountered this one at some point. I might say out loud, man, I really like this book, and someone will just appear and get in my face and be like, I don't like reading, I don't see the point, reading is boring, did they make a movie out of it? Yeah, it can be hard to encounter this perspective sometimes, but you know what, it's also a valid perspective that a lot of people have. What is the point of reading? Why do it? Why do people love it? Well, there are a lot of benefits for one. Reading leads to improved language and communication skills. It leads to greater emotional health and empathy because we're living through someone else's life momentarily. It improves creativity and creative thinking, which can really help you in your job and daily life. But let's ignore all of those benefits for a second. Reading is fun. It's supposed to be something you do to relax and to be entertained, and to have something interesting to think about and to discuss with others. But what about other forms of media, film, TV, games? Is reading better than all of them? Not necessarily. I know some people say turn off the screens and pick up a book. But I'm not going to do that to you. I know there are many ways to enjoy story, and I won't stop you from enjoying the format that brings you the most joy. People say to me all the time that, I wish I could read more, but I'm playing video games. Then play the video games.
Do it.
Just don't neglect reading or consider it to be lesser than other formats. Besides, there are thousands of books that don't have adaptations yet. Those are wonderful stories that you don't have access to outside of reading. So if you start reading, you'll find all sorts of adventures you haven't imagined yet. So this is the heart of the matter. All of those other points about why adults don't read were all to help you discover the area where you are personally struggling with. Hopefully now you know and you can start working on it. The final two pieces of advice I want to leave you with are simple. Start small and read whatever you want. Starting small means don't set yourself a Goodreads goal of reading 50 books this year if last year you read 2. Maybe start with 20 or even just 10. Then see if 50 books is possible next year once you've got your reading muscle strong again. Also, you do not have to read every day. Sometimes it's just not possible depending on your schedule. Maybe you're someone who can only read for 1 hour on the weekend. That's okay, that's still progress to be proud of. And start with small books, easy books, something short, fun, comfortable. Start small and over time, you will be able to go further. And the second advice is simply read whatever you want. Again, this is the last video, but honestly, this whole month of For the Love of Reading has had so much overlap between topics, it's been such a pain in the script writing phase. Anyway, to start reading again, make sure you're not reading to impress other people or to please them. Pick the books you like. If you like trashy romance books, start reading trashy romance books. If you like sci-fi and fantasy, my channel has a crap ton of videos on different series you can try. Read the mainstream popular books. Read the weird obscure books. Read whatever you want. This will go a long way to get you reading again. I hope you're feeling inspired at this point to step up your reading game. Or maybe you feel like you can better advocate for reading now. Either way, thank you so much for watching. If you want to support my work, you can comment on this video, which will give it a boost and it will recommend it to more people. You can also subscribe so you see more stuff. I'd love to hear which of those 7 reasons are keeping you from reading, and where are you on your journey to start reading again. Also, if you really love me, you can check out our shop and our Patreon. Also, exciting news, we have finally got some Book Guy merch. On our shop, Rainbow Space Unicorn, you can buy a range of the shirts that I wear in my video, including this one. We've been trying to get the shirt thing going for ages, but they're finally ready. My wife Kit is a very talented graphic designer. She put all these shirts together and we've now set them up so that they don't all come from Australia. They get shipped from a local store near you so that delivery is cheaper. We also have this shirt, or these shirts. They come in women's too. And here's a woman I prepared earlier.
Or these shirts. Should we be models? Should we just stop our careers and be models?
No, I don't think so.
Accessibility is really important to me, so these shirts have super soft fabric, which is really good for those of us who have sensory sensitivities, and we are size inclusive. They go from a size small up to a 5XL at no extra cost to you guys. Enjoy!
And final shirt is this one, my favorite. I saved it to last. We actually have a few versions of this, so there's You're Never Too Old for Dragons. There's a mermaid one or unicorn one as well. Thanks for that, guys. I've got 2 more videos coming in the For the Love of Reading series before we get back to our regular schedule of introducing new books. I hope you'll join me for them, and I hope you will enjoy a good book today. Bye!